What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journos, Comics, and Pop Culture. Today, I'm going to be discussing an issue that is really close to heart in terms of who I am as a human being and what I try to bring to the table as Journos, Comics, and Pop Culture to my YouTube channel in terms of the cliche comic book term, with great power comes great responsibility. I often get called out saying, why am I always talking about pitchfork mentality? And I'm going to address a conversation that comes off the heels of the Epic Nation theft controversy. And I'm going to discuss this today, and we're going to look at the differences between pitchfork mentality and comic book community activism, so to say, and why I'm so inclined to call out the pitchfork mob. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, please take some time to do so. Check out all the links in the description below as well. Before we get into the topic of discussion, folks, I want to take less than 60 seconds to shout out SpiderDudeComics.com for sponsoring this video. You can find their link below as well. Today's video is sponsored by my good friends over at Spider Dude Comics. You can check out their links in the description below. You guys can save 10% off of any order by using the code JOURNOS10. This code never expires. And also, if they have any other promotions going on their website, you can always piggyback the Journos 10 to get that extra 10% off as well. You can search by Marvel or DC or certain ages like Silver to Golden, or your favorite characters like mine, Spider-Man. You guys can see a little bit of what they got going on here. Again, Silver Age to modern books. Stuff is extremely well priced. If you know me by now, you know that I only push those that I truly support and that I truly believe in. So again, guys, go check out SpiderDudeComics.com. You can also follow them on Instagram, and you can check out their YouTube channel by finding their link in the description below or finding their YouTube link on their website. All right, folks. So for those that don't know, I had a lot of people inboxing me saying that they wanted to hear my personal opinion on this Epic Nation situation. I did as much research as I wanted to, and then I did a live stream about that. You guys can go check that out. I expressed my opinion. I expressed how I think a lot of what's going on in this community with theft, with sellers on whatnot, with the response from comic book content creators or just people on social media. There's a lot of different things going on, and I did say that this particular situation is very valid. I did say that I believe that no matter how you cut the cookie or cut the pie, Epic was wrong in what he did, and he should be banned from whatnot. Obviously, there's a lot of other accusations coming out, and it doesn't look good for him. I'll just say that. Now, I do want to share this as well. Epic himself reached out to me personally, privately on Instagram. I guess he watched my live stream and said, other YouTubers wanted to reach out, but they're just trying to do it for clicks and views. You seem fair. I want to come on your show. And I basically summed it up to say, look, I appreciate you reaching out, but I'm moving on from this. I said that I think no matter, like I said, with all the facts that I know, no matter what, I think what you did was wrong. And you've already addressed everything that you could have addressed. I mean, the guy did like multiple live streams talking for hours. There's nothing that I could say to you or have you say on my channel that hasn't been said before. And I said, if you really think that these accusations against you are false, file a civil suit. I said, I'm done with this. There's nothing more I could do. Again, that's it. I'm not going to entertain that at this point. It's a waste of my time. But I wanted to address today about the people that come at me saying, why do you always have to bring up pitchforks? We are here in this community trying to call out theft, trying to call out people that really need to be held accountable. And I'm going to show a comment right here to why I do that. But let me make this clear. I don't believe that this Epic situation falls in line with that, at least at core. Because like I said, it's obvious, it can be obvious in certain situations when people are guilty. Whatever they're guilty of, or however deep that guilt lay. I do believe that there was a call to action around the Epic situation. I reached out, I won't say names, but I had a conversation with another seller that has a pretty well-known Instagram, at least. I don't know about a YouTube. And we talked about how Epic has seemed to take advantage of this individual, and there are a lot of single or isolated installations surrounding Epic that it does not look good. Like I said, it does not look good. So I had a very productive conversation with him, and he said some of these YouTubers that were speaking out against Epic really helped him try to push his situation forward for him to get back what is owed to him. So I want to make that clear. My beef is not about, oh, people calling out Epic are just clout chasing or trying to get clicks and views. No, I'm simply saying in that video that people in the comic community have a dopamine rush, whether it's people that make videos and want to, like, you know, bring out the pitchforks, or if it's people that get caught up in the hype of sellers like Epic selling exclusive variants on whatnot. I mean, the dopamine rush goes all ways. Everyone on social media, there is this dopamine factor. Now, I hope I made that clear to where I stand on the Epic situation. I stand with those who have been wronged. I stand with those that say that this individual, no matter the depth of his guilt, needs to be held accountable. I think more truth will come to light. I hope that, you know, certain individuals get involved that could, if there are legalities involved in legal issues. And I also still believe that this individual should be banned from selling on whatnot. But let me read this comment and explain to you guys the troubling reality of pitchfork mob mentality. I'm just going to read it right here. This was on the video that I talked about Epic, and it blows my mind, like I said, because of how clear I felt I was in terms of holding him accountable. Is it just me, or has this guy just been crying and ranting of stuff instead of doing the usual comic book stuff? Should make a separate page for this. Does anyone know exactly what he did with the money he said he would raise for his friend who killed himself? It's like he was posting all that to make himself look good. Hey, look at me. I'm trying to make good friends, family by getting this money. The grammar is horrible. Never heard anything else about the money except for him feeding his ego, taking advantage of a family's grief. Okay. Already, this comment has a few likes, nothing to be concerned about, but let me make this 100% clear. This comment is 100% false. Now, oh, Chris, stop feeding the trolls. Well, again, let me put this in perspective. This is how pitchfork mob mentality starts. I never had a friend that killed himself. I never accepted money or donations for a friend that killed himself. And like I said in my comment where I said, wow, people will literally make up the craziest stuff. I don't know if this individual is referring to our good friend of this community, Simon Rodriguez, who lost his battle to cancer last December, almost a year ago. During that time, I did a whatnot sale where I donated, I believe it was like 10 or 15% of the proceeds to his family to help pay for funeral expenses, etc. And I was in communication with his wife, who is also a good friend of the channel in this community. And I sent that money to her directly via like Zelle. And I actually screenshotted that payment and I posted it on my YouTube. So it just, again, if that's the one thing that this individual is referring to, the receipts are there. But this is how it starts. You ask me, why do I have to call out pitchfork mentality? Even when people have good intentions, I like to address those situations, say, hey, you may have good intentions, but let's make sure we have all the facts because of stuff like this. Because this is how rumors get spread. And has anyone here watching, by raise of hand, the teacher in me is coming out. Raise your hand, class. Has anybody heard of the story, The Boy Who Cried Wolf? Don't twist my words, but let's go back to the Epic situation. When you have a YouTuber that calls me out and says I'm clout chasing, or says I'm shady, I'm stealing money from the community, or I'm doing whatever, right? And then you have a situation like Epic and that same YouTuber comes and attacks Epic in the same way that they attacked me. What have I said before? I'll say it again. It devalues your argument. So you have somebody like Epic who, to what extent you guys want to come to your own conclusions, is guilty. And like I said, I think Epic is absolutely guilty to some level. It actually gives them fuel to sit and say, well, look at these YouTubers attacking me just for clicks and views and for clout. It gives them that firepower because all you're known for is ranting and raving about how a certain seller, a certain app, a certain YouTuber is shady and ruining the business, ruining the hobby, simply because they sell on an app, simply because you don't like them on YouTube, whatever the case may be. And again, for me, and I will say this, I have been the same person I've been on my YouTube since I started it because my kids wanted me to make a YouTube video showing off my comic books. I realized that I could be successful with it and turn it into a business. But even as a businessman with my Journals Comics brand, I have been extremely transparent and clear in everything I do. And I'm gonna get the people that are like, oh, if you need to say transparent, it means if you need to remind us how transparent you are, you're guilty. No matter the way you cut it, somebody will have something to say to try to pull your card as if you are something that you're not. And it boggles my mind how I get comments like this, where now I'm the clout chaser. How am I clout chasing? Because I'm addressing an issue the same way that all these other individuals are addressing the issue. How is it that I'm clout chasing simply because I didn't call Epic a clown? I'm not, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But simply because I came at it like a journalist, like a lawyer, and said, these are the facts that have been presented to me. I think this individual is guilty of this, but I also think that we need to hold ourselves accountable to how we address these issues. We can't just come out like high school bullies, like Gossip Girl bullies. We have to have the facts. How is that wrong? But maybe it's a projection thing. Maybe they are. And here's the thing about The Boy Who Cried Wolf. If you're deflecting and saying what I'm doing is clout chasing, how do I know that maybe we're all clout chasing? And you're just mad because I'm not echo chambering exactly what you're saying. Who knows? Just to start, you won't get a view for me out of this. Everyone is reporting on Epic to get him out of the community because he is a thief. What part of what I did wasn't the same thing? I said the same thing. I said, with the facts that I know, and I can't assume what I don't know. There is guilt to be had. There is accountability, and he should be banned from whatnot. I said that loud and clear. How was that missed? How was that missed? So when you get a little bit of success and you start selling comics, or you say things to where, if you're not echoing exactly what they want to hear, no matter what side of the argument, I piss off people on all sides of arguments, on all sides of opinions, because I don't perfectly echo chamber them. And when you do that, people feel threatened and create misunderstandings to where you're challenging them. There is a huge difference between pitchfork mentality and community activism. And when I say community activism, I mean using your platform for good to stand up for the community. There is a difference. And there's a lot of these YouTubers and people on IG that blur that line, because they would rather jump to conclusions and spread hate for somebody like me I have never taken money for anyone. I sell comic books at losses. And when people say, oh, well, I stand up for influencers. I come to bat for influencers. I come to bat for principles. And I'll go back to the C2E2 stuff. When C2E2 went down, I was never standing up for Nerdy Girl. I was never standing up for Comic Tom. I was standing up for the principle that people started running their mouths and making videos before the facts came out. And it was that simple. oh, I bought Comic Tom's mystery box for a few months because I wanted to maybe support and see if I liked him. And oh, I'm clout chasing. I want to get in the good graces of a big comic book influencer. I could give a damn. I've also watched Comic Tom's videos and told him that, Tom, you're telling me that AF-15 is a $45,000 book and a 2.5. I disagree 100%. It was never a $45,000 book. But the thing with Tom, I will say, is he could take criticism. He pulls his big boy pants up and he could take criticism. When people disagree with him, he don't have to go, freaking make enemies. I don't say anything on my channel in order to get in the good graces of anyone. And that's why you people don't like me. I speak my mind. One day you may say something that I agree with, and I'm your best friend. But the next day you find out that there's something that I disagree with, and you're unsubscribing and dropping comments like this. Boy, are we a fickle people. Now, because I'm not clout chasing, because I'm trying so hard to stay away from drama like this, but because I felt the Epic situation was a situation where it wasn't really about drama, it was about a real serious situation, and people asked my opinions. I spoke on it, and yet I still couldn't avoid this type of garbage. And not only from some random guy on commenting, but also from other content creators. And I reached out to these other content creators, and of course, they don't want to have a conversation. And when they do respond, they respond like a childish bully. And they're cynical, and they are unwilling to have an adult conversation. So I'll end on this note. Again, I talked about the Epic situation because a lot of people wanted my opinion on it. And I thought it was a fair situation to say, yes, people need to be held accountable. This is a serious matter. I can't escape this nonsense. And I wanted to put it to bed to say, this is why I talk about pitchfork mentality. Again, to sum it up one last time, if you want to be a comic book community activist, whether you have a YouTube channel, whether you have an IG, whatever platform you want to use, whether you live stream, you have to have all of the facts. And if you don't, you have to be very cautious on how you communicate your opinions. I think Brian McClay, big shout out to Beyond Wednesdays, does an amazing job of this. I don't always agree with what he says, but I think he's really fair. And I definitely don't always agree with some of what his guests say. And I think Brian is pretty good at not kind of letting his emotions get to him. Some of his guests aren't so good. I'm just gonna be humble. No offense to them. I appreciate them. I think some of his guests, stoop to that, that name calling and oh, let's bully and have a laugh at their expense. I think there's a time and place where, for that, and there's a time and place where we should leave that aside, because what did I just say? We got to be as professional as we possibly can and can't jump to conclusions, and we have to present this with facts. There's other YouTube channels that have talked about this Epic situation that I don't watch just for my own reasons, so I can't even speak to how they're handling it. I can't. But the bottom line is that there is a fine line. You're either going to invalidate your stance. If you want to be a community activist, don't invalidate your stance by blurring the line between speaking on valid issues and then dragging people in the mud on some conspiracy theories where you don't have any facts and you just hate somebody because of their success or because of what app they sell on or because you don't simply like what they have to say on their YouTube channel. Because again, if you blur those lines, not only on one side of it will you throw good people under the bus, but you're going to actually, how do I say this? You're actually going to invalidate the argument against people that are really guilty. And with that being said, this topic is put to bed. I am done with it. Thank you all for watching. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Be respectful one way or the other. If you disagree with some things I said, I would love to have a conversation. But just be respectful to yourselves, to the channel, and to others. Thank you all for watching. Be well, and until next time.